Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Emma, or Emily, who's to say. So we're gonna do this a little bit different. I don't have like a lot of time to film, so I'm gonna just film random bits in between my classes today. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, it has been a while since I've posted anything. It's been a while since I filmed anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my August wrap up and the first 2 weeks wrap up for September, because I am going to be moving. I'm living with my mom for a couple months. I won't have all of my books, and I don't want to bring all the books that I've already read in August, and I also don't want to insert all the pictures, so we're just gonna do it now. Also, really quickly, I haven't been posting as much, I'm sorry. I used to post twice a week, which was really fun for me, and I liked having that schedule, but now I'm like, yeah, it's funny because it's true. I don't know how often I'm going to be posting. I'm going to try to post as often as I can. I don't exactly know even what kind of videos I'm going to post for now. It seems like I'm just going to be posting wrap-ups and stuff, but I'll try to post more. Also, my hair is different. My hair is now reddish, ginger, orange. It's not what it used to be. And I actually really like it. I think it's fun. I think it suits me, I guess. I don't know. So let's just get started. The first book that I've read in the month of August was WISHLIST by Alice Oseman, and I loved it. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 5 stars. I related to the characters a lot, specifically Georgia. We have very similar personalities, and we like a lot of the same things, like Moulin Rouge, and then her friends loving Scooby-Doo. I was like, hell yeah. Things like that. So that was really cool to read. The friendship dynamic was just really cool, and I really liked that, and I loved how it was just such a big part of the book. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this, and I highly recommend it. Okay, my hair won't stay in a bun, so now you get to see it in all of its glory. I don't know. The next book I read was Feminists Don't Wear Pink, curated by Scarlett Curtis. So this is a book that's basically just a bunch of essays about feminism and different kinds of feminism, I guess. Or it's about, like, in my opinion, what is true feminism. You can be a delicate feminist. People put a hierarchy on it almost. It's like, oh, because she's a strong, independent woman, she's a feminist. Because you are a stay-at-home mom, you're not a feminist. It's like, bitch, you're not a feminist. That's just rude. So feminists don't wear pink and other lies, and so it's just talking about that. I don't know how I'm explaining this so poorly, but I first listened to it and really enjoyed it that way, and so I decided I wanted to get it because I wanted to be able to annotate it, and it's also not just a bunch of white women. I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I already said that. Moving on. The next book I read, I think I actually was vlogging when I read it, and that is Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trista Mateer, and I made a vision board for this book, out of this book technically. So basically the first copy I got was defamed. And so I used pieces of it, like I basically just tore it up like a magazine, and made a vision board out of it. If you want to see that video, I'll link it up there and down below. I read it the first time while it had some pieces cut out of it, and I got the gist. There were a couple pieces I was missing, but I kind of went through for some of those things and just like read the bit of text that was cut out. But yeah, so I got to make a vision board out of it, which was really fun because it was like a real connection with the book almost. Like it was an intimate process with the book, because you're tearing it apart and you're using this author's like work, this person's art, to make it into new art. It's a very interesting process, one that I've never really felt with a magazine quite as much as I did with the book, and it was just really cool because I got to turn it into something that was like more my style, but it was still out of this artist's work, you know? I just think it's really cool. I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I got a second copy of it so that I could have one that wasn't cut up or destroyed or anything like that. Okay, I still have a little bit more time until my class, so let's talk. The next book that I read on ebook thingy, and that was This Winter by Alice Oseman. It is a novella, a solitaire novella, and so it follows Tori, Charlie, and Oliver, the Spring siblings. It was really cute. It was super short. but it was really fun to read from all three different point of views, because I've only ever read from Charlie's point of view at this point, and so Tori's point of view was new for me, and then Oliver doesn't have his own book, so it was kind of cool to read from his perspective. And then I also read Nick and Charlie via audiobook, and I actually ordered this and This Winter after reading them via, not audiobook, ebook. This Winter was like back ordered, and so I don't know when it's gonna come in, but it'll come in at some point. This showed up first. The main reason I got this is because she published a new edition of it with some comics, and so I wanted to see those. There aren't that many comics, so I didn't really need to get it, but I'm happy to have it anyways. And so I actually read this twice in August. I gave both of them 5 stars, This Winter and Nick and Charlie. I thought they were both really good and really cute. This one's quite a bit longer, but it's still not like long. It's just fun to read, and it's like different segments of their life. Next, I read this book for school technically, and it is Can I Use I? Because I hate college writing, by Catherine Prendergast, illustrated by Han Lindahl. So this is basically just talking about college writing and stuff. This is a book that I was supposed to get for my English class, and we've been recommended certain passages, but we haven't been required to read anything. But before school even started, I was so nervous about starting school that I read the entire book. Honestly, it was pretty helpful. I made some notes. I'm very insecure about my writing. I love writing so much, but I'm very insecure about it. And I feel like I just am horrible at it. Especially because even when I'm talking, I just don't always make sense. And so it's like, how can I do that when I'm writing? Editing, that's how. I didn't rate it because it was technically for school, and then also I just didn't really know how to rate it. But I thought it was really interesting, it was funny, it was lighthearted, easy to read. It wasn't like boring and difficult. Next, for the Indian Readathon, which I completely failed at, we're not going to talk about that, Crocodile in the Water, Tiger on Land. So I had planned to read a lot more than just a comic book for Indian Readathon, but you know what, we can't always get what we want, especially when you're starting school. So yeah. This is a comic book. It's based in India. It's by 2 anonymous authors who are Indian. It's really interesting because it talks a lot about the politics there, which I know nothing about. I know nothing about politics in general. Okay, I know a little bit about US politics, but like, if we talked about politics, I'd be learning. I wouldn't be like added to the conversation. I also didn't read this one because I didn't really know how to read it without knowing. Like, I definitely wasn't the target audience. Okay, so my teacher had some technical difficulties, so she's gonna record the yoga class and then we can follow along later, so I don't have to do yoga right now. So let's talk about the last book that I read in August. Art Matters by Neil Gaiman, illustrated by Chris Riddle or Chris Riddell. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce that. It's a pretty simple book. It has just like sort of almost like speeches, like mini speeches with illustrations. I either gave it 4 or 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't like mind-blowing, but I love listening to Neil Gaiman talk, even if I'm reading it, so yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about what I've read so far in September. It is currently the 14th, so it's been a solid 2 weeks of September. So in that time, one of them isn't on Goodreads yet because I finished it like 20 minutes ago. So first I read The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. It was really nice. I really liked whoever did the audiobook. You know, some people just have those voices. Like, I love listening to Neil Gaiman when he like recites his books, and Elizabeth Acevedo is very good. I don't remember what the guy's name is, but if you listen to the audiobook of The Fire Next Time, I really liked it. This book starts off as like a letter to his son, which reminded me of another article I had to read for anthropology. I think it's actually called A Letter to My Son. Yeah, Letter to My Son by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And he actually quotes James Baldwin at the very beginning, which I thought was cool because I was like, hey, you know? I thought it was really interesting to hear his perspective, because he grew up in a very religious household, and his dad was also very religious. I can't remember if they were Christian or Catholic. It might be like glaringly obvious, but I really get confused. They were, I think, in the genre of Christian, if that makes any sense. James Mr. Baldwin had some Jewish friends, and his dad was like, oh, they're gonna like burn in hell, basically. And he was like, no, they're not. Oh, hey, they're rainbows. Yeah, that was kind of interesting to read about his perspective and like his ideas about religion in that. His discussions on race were really interesting to read, or to listen to. I'm sure they're also interesting to read. The next book I read was Are You Listening by Tilly Walden. I really liked, first let's talk about the art. I really liked the aesthetic of it. That's a pretty dark page, but it's like, it's got a very consistent color scheme and I love it. It's about Lou and B? Yeah. It's about Lou and B, and they're both kind of trying to escape their problems, and they end up on this road trip together. I think Lou is like 18, 19, and B is, no, it's the opposite way around. I don't know. One of them's older. I'm sorry if you can hear the dishes in the background. I really don't have any other time to film. It was really interesting to read, and I also really liked it because it had sort of a surprise. If it's a surprise, should I say it? It's not like a surprise. It had sort of a sci-fi element to it, which I was not expecting, and I really enjoyed it. It's a good read, it's a quick read because it's a comic, and I just really enjoyed it, so yeah. The next book I read was Great Goddesses by Nikita Gill. I really enjoyed this. It was super nice. I had started reading it, I think, in July. I absolutely love Greek mythology. Anything to do with it is interesting. Anything to do with most mythology is pretty interesting to me, so I really enjoyed reading this. I'm getting so distracted by the rainbows. I thought it was just really well done, and even for me, who's someone who like knows a lot about Greek mythology, there were some gods and goddesses that I like learned about, and I thought that was pretty cool, or that I only had like a vague idea of, but I learned more about through this. And she also has a glossary in the back with like all the names, so that's also helpful. And at first I thought it was only going to be the goddesses' stories, and like I was chill with that. But it includes the gods' stories too, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that you got both, but the women were also powerful. Yeah, so also I don't know if I said, I gave The Fire Next Time 5 stars, I gave Are You Listening 4 stars, and I gave Great Goddesses 5 stars. But yeah, the next book I read was Solitaire by Alice Oseman, and I had pink stickies, and I thought that was really cute. So the average rating for this book is 3.56, and like Nick and Charlie is 4.19, This Winter is 4.17, Loveless is 4.48. And those are only the recent ones I read. I don't want to like keep scrolling, but it's interesting that this one has like, it's not super low, like 3.5 stars is still good. It's just, I'm kind of surprised, I guess. Going into it, it definitely felt like a 4-star. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love Alice Oseman, but just going into it, I wasn't connecting as much. It just wasn't quite there for me, and there were some things that she talked about where I was kind of like, like, I don't think girl hate is the right word, just like not my jam. I don't know how to explain what I'm talking about, but there was just something in the beginning that I was kind of like meh about, but probably around this area where there's like an abundance of stickies is when it started to feel like a 5-star. I started relating to the characters more and just getting more drawn into the story. I ended up giving this one 5 stars, which does make me kind of happy because now I've given everything I've read so far by Alice Oseman 5 stars, which is just like nice and consistent. But I do see why some people don't like it as much, and it's also her debut novel, and I'm pretty sure she started writing when she was like 19 or something, which is insane. I'm 19. I can't write this. So the next book I read was Arusha and the End of Time. I listened to this on audiobook. I do have the hard copy, but my little sister's borrowing it right now. So yeah, I listened to this and I really enjoyed it. It was fun, it was funky, it had that Percy Jackson vibe, and I thought it was cool. I'm interested in the rest of them. I don't know like when I'll get to them, but it's something that I'm not opposed to reading more of. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. and I gave it 4 stars. Next, I read Woman World by Aminder Dhaliwal. Basically, it's about if men died off the earth. And it's interesting. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute, and it reminds me a lot of my friend's art style, which was just really fun. I haven't rated this one yet. I can't decide where I'm at because I really enjoyed it. And I don't think there was anything in it that was making me not like it as much. I don't remember anything. I just don't know what I want to rate it yet, and I'm having trouble. And the last book that I read was Fortunately the Milk by Neil Gaiman. I listened to this. It's like an hour-long audiobook. It's super short. It's a children's book. It's just so bizarre, and I loved it. It was just like a tale, like just words. I don't know. Neil Gaiman, he can use them. It's such a fantastical like story that he wrote, and it was so fun to read and to listen to, and him narrating it was also fun because it was just so like ass backwards, like just random but so funny. I don't know what I'm gonna rate this. I didn't think it was bad, it just wasn't like my favorite, so I really don't know, because I loved the fantastical element, like the vampires and the aliens and just everything. It was bizarre and awesome. That is everything that I have read so far. Okay, so I read a total of 8 books. Why am I holding up before? I read a total of 8 books, and one of those I read twice, so I read 9 books in August, and so far I've read 6 books in the first 2 weeks of September, which is really nice. I also really quickly wanted to tell you about the books that I am currently reading and trying to read. I'm trying to finish these 3 books before I leave, so before Saturday, which I don't know if I'll be able to do. I feel like I could do it, but I just don't know if I'll get there. I don't have a ton of schoolwork, but I have some, so like, you know. First off, Much Ado About Nothing. I am on Act 2, Scene 1, which Scene 1's really freaking long for some reason. I read a lot of Shakespeare the last week of July, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun. So I got Much Ado About Nothing because I'm pretty sure it's mentioned in Loveless, which I don't know if I talked about that when I was talking about Loveless, but I absolutely loved the Shakespeare element. It was so fun to read that after reading some Shakespeare, because I knew some of the stories already and I could understand like the jokes they were making and like the characters they were talking about, sort of, but I like wouldn't have gotten all of the references. But I was just, I think, able to enjoy it better. I'm not saying that you need to read Shakespeare plays before reading Loveless. If you don't feel like reading Shakespeare, then don't. If you feel like reading Loveless without reading Shakespeare, you're fine. So far, it's interesting. There are some pot stirrers. Mr. John, what a dude. The next one is I Was Born for This by Alice Husband. This is the only book of hers that I have not yet read, that I'm aware of. I've looked around, and I feel like she might have a couple more comics out there. I'm not entirely sure, but as far as all of her published works into hard copy form, I read them all, and I'm up to date on Heartstopper on Webtoon. So yeah. After I finish this, I will have read all of Alice Husband, so I'm really excited. I've read the synopsis, but I don't really know what it's about. I'm really excited to read it. I generally read her books pretty fast, like within a couple days. So I'm hoping that if I start it soon, it'll work out well. I don't know if I'm going to start it before I finish Much Ado About Nothing. I haven't like made up my mind on this at all, but yeah. And the last one that I want to finish is Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. This is like a long play. No, poem. Yes. So yeah, I know absolutely nothing about it. It's old. First published in 1862. It's old. I don't know what it's about, but it seems interesting. It's also impeccably short. So I think it'd be a nice thing to just read before I leave. And then, like, to top it all off, I'm so happy right now. Do you see this? Like, I did not intend for this to happen. It's just so perfect, and I absolutely love it. it's so fun. So these are the 3 books that I'm currently reading. I haven't started 2 of them, but like, they're on my right now TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this 6-week wrap up and current reading update. I will hopefully see you guys soon. Bye.